r/AskReddit. If COVID-19 wasn't dominating the news right now, what would be some of the biggest stories be right now?
CRISPR was just successfully injected into a live patient to treat genetically caused blindness. Sauce. Web link.
The former king of Spain and his Swiss accounts.
And the fact that through those accounts he received 100 million from Saudi Arabia. And that he's being sued in the UK for threatening his ex-lover, all the while Spanish courts refuse to open an investigation.
ISIS bombs Sikh place of worship in Afghanistan.
Afghan officials say 25 were killed and 8 more are wounded in an attack on the Sikh temple in the nation's capital. It appears multiple gunmen stormed the temple complex while there were approximately 150 people inside. A Sikh who took cover says the militants went room to room, shooting and throwing hand grenades. The Islamic State organization has claimed responsibility.
The nearly 2-year-long Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has ended. The last patient to be treated has survived.
Wow. I was worried about this a couple of months ago, but then the pandemic that must not be named took over my attention and I forgot about it. Incredibly brave people fighting Ebola. Such a scary disease.
Brexit. I almost miss it.
Astronomer here. We might have a bright naked eye comet next month in the Northern Hemisphere, our first since 1997. Comet C 2019 Atlas Y4 is brightening really quickly. Web link. And by May might be one of the brightest things in the night sky. I mean, comets are notoriously tricky to predict in brightness, as it might just break apart as it gets closer to the sun. But it's really exciting to think about, albeit no one has heard about it because of the pandemic. Though granted, doesn't a pandemic need a bright comet? Edit. You might be able to get it in binoculars right now. Or at least have fun trying. Here, https://heavens-above.com/comet.aspx $sid=c%2 f 2019%20y4 and lat equals 50 and lng equals 15 and loc equals %c4%8cr and alt equals 270 and tz equals set closing parenthesis. Is a star chart for it. And yes, the last bright Northern Hemisphere great comet was Hale-Bopp, which was up for about a year to the naked eye, if you were a Southern Hemisphere resident in 2006. However, you probably remember Comet McNaught. Edit 2, because many are asking, that bright star in the evening sky is actually Venus. It's around its peak brightness and height right now, and you should go take a look if your social distancing allows it. Might as well take a break from Netflix and look at a whole nother planet. Smiley face. Edit 3. No, there is no chance of the comet hitting us or affecting life on Earth beyond potentially getting bright.
I'd like to say the earn it, web link, act, but stuff like this doesn't tend to make the news.
The US government trying to pass an anti-child porn law that actually just gives them the ability to search through all of our messages. Edit. If you want to learn more about this act, here's a link, web link, to an article with some great information.
Earn It bill. It seeks to end encryption in the USA. It would be a huge hit to online free speech.
It's amazing to me, the simple fact that this is impossible to implement. But that's not enough to stop them. It's one of the most disruptive acts I have ever seen. Bunch of old dumb people making rules without even remotely understanding the implications.
Earn IT is only on the table because of COVID-19. There's no way they would try this if we weren't distracted.
One of the main routes into downtown Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge, was closed yesterday because cracks in support beams made it structurally unsound. It will take several months to fix and will not reopen until it's done. This would normally destroy the entire Seattle commute. But it happened right now, so it's barely even a blip on the local news.
Real talk. This was probably the best possible time for this to happen.
Real talk. They likely knew about this for a long time, and were waiting to find a time to close it.
My new favorite conspiracy theory is that COVID-19 was created by the Municipal Transportation Authority in Seattle.
Don't be ridiculous. The government actually created COVID-19 to keep people inside while they change the batteries on all the birds.
I would hope the locusts plaguing East Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. It's describing some swarms as being the size of New York. And they are eating their harvest, threatening widespread famine. I think without coronavirus we would mobilize to try to control this population the way we did for Zika-carrying mosquitoes in the Americas. Edit. This NPR article. Web link. Describes how in 2018 an unfortunate series of cyclones from the Indian Ocean hit an extremely remote area of the Arabian Peninsula known as the Empty Quarter. This produced extraordinary rain and gave them what they needed to breed. Because a second cyclone hit occurred during their breeding cycle, instead of drying out and having most of their population die out in the desert, the population exploded. In favorable conditions they can multiply by 400 times their population every 6 months. Then they mass migrated. Also for clarity, a swarm was identified as 3 times the size of NYC.
Plagues, wildfires, locust. I know things like this happen, but definitely getting some apocalypse vibes.
North Room case in Korea. Telegram porno sexual slavery ring with 74 victims including underage girls. The Telegram groups had 260,000 members. The nth room perpetrators are accused of luring victims, including minors, into sending sexually explicit photos and videos. In some cases, this escalated to using blackmail to force victims into increasingly violent acts, including sexual assault. Absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised that this news didn't get bigger internationally. Edit. Don't let this get buried.
Probably the oil price war actually. Saudi Arabia is trying to force the Russians into cutting production since they won't play ball with OPEC. And US shale might pay the price as we need high cost for this entire industry to function.
I work in the oil industry. This is huge right now. It's honestly just about the same as the coronavirus for us. Hours getting cuts, people losing their jobs, etc. All due to oil price and not coronavirus. US shale is paying the price. Even without the virus, it would kill our economy. Yes, it did start before coronavirus. But the impact happened at the same time.
That Putin changed his country's constitution so he can be president until 2036.
I think we've all known for a while that dude's going to leave power in a casket and not a moment sooner.
The insider trading scandal in Congress.
That's all folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please help the channel by smashing the like button and subscribing for more daily content.